Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 212 of the Terminal City FC podcast, part of the Area 51 Sports Network. Josh Ray joined alongside Nathan Durek, as per usual. And yeah, kind of somber, and all that, because Vancouver Whitecaps lose MLS Cup to Inter Miami 3-1. Frustration, heartbreak, disappointment, whatever you want to call it. Had a few days to, process everything now. So, I mean, it felt like it was theirs for the taking, but they just couldn't take it.
You can boil this down to two or three moments where the game got decided.
Yeah.
And on those moments, Miami came out on top. You can take a look at the mistake by Kubas that gave the ball up to Messi. You can take a look at Sabi and then Ahmed hitting the posts within 2 seconds of one another. It's the Jesper called this. It was a game of fine margins, and that's exactly what it was. It was
fine lines.
Small moments. Yeah, small moments that decided it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, fine margins is the best way to describe this. And, just to get to start off, it kind of was a slow start. Miami scored like less than 10 minutes in. Eddie Ocampo played Tadeo Allende onside, but unfortunately he ended up deflecting it into his own net.
Yeah. I feel bad for the guy. I understand what he was trying to do. If he didn't get in there to make that interception, the second man in from Miami would have had an easy tap in.
That would have been messy.
Yeah, there you go. Right. It was, a frustrating one. I feel bad for Ocampo. Right?
Yeah,
because I know what he was trying to do, and what he was doing was correct. Just
fortunately,
went in the wrong way.
Yeah, unfortunately lost Allende right from the beginning of the play to play him on side, but Whitecaps slowly got back into the games, and once near the end of the first half, second half, they were getting possession, but just not using the wings more, which was Ahmed and Sabi, and not really shooting. Kubas had a chance to shoot from outside the box around the 20th minute, but he didn't
take it.
Berhalter's deliveries, I mean, they found Muller, found White, but it went right to Rios Novo.
Yeah.
Sabi even had a chance that he was robbed by Rios Novo. Second half, the things just, Whitecaps started playing their game. They made Miami chase. And then Ali Ahmed shoots from distance, and it goes off the hands of Rios Novo and in, and that was his first goal of the season, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all square.
I think it was a well taken goal. It was a great movement of play of Sabi having the ball on the right, finding Brian White at the edge of the 18-yard box, back to goal, right? Where you see a lot of attackers do play that back to goal, where they become almost like a different kind of distributor. Because as soon as White gets the ball, he's already looking over to Ahmed streaking in and is able to shift that ball quickly over. So while all the players are still over on the right, Ahmed's on an island alone. He's able to take that, have time to move in, get better position, take that shot. Yeah, Novo got a piece of it, but it wasn't enough. Good enough for a goal.
I think one of my gripes from this game is they didn't shoot more, because Novo, he isn't the best goalkeeper out there, so
they also didn't test Novo as well, because a lot of their shots on target were directly at him. Whitecaps actually had more shots and more shots on target than Miami in this match. They also had 65% possession. Like, the Whitecaps were able to play their game, something they were not able to do in San Diego. But, just because you can dictate the place of the game, it's Miami. Miami is going to take advantage of whatever opportunity you give them, and they're fine letting you have the ball.
Yeah, it felt like the Whitecaps were in the driver's seat, and you could feel like they had a finger on the MLS Cup trophy, especially after Sabi, soon after Ahmed's goal, goes through the defenders and hits both posts.
Yeah.
And that makes up, I guess, for Denny Bouanga hitting both the post and the crossbar in the second round. Soccer gods, give it
Giveth and
soccer
taketh
gods.
away.
Yep. And this will go down in infamy in Vancouver sports, same with Nathan Lafayette's post in Game 7 of the 1994 Stanley Cup Finals. Like, what if that went in? What if Sabby's post went in? Because if it did go in, I confidently say the Whitecaps shut Miami down after that, given the way they were playing.
It becomes a very different game because you can see how much the sails deflated after Rodrigo De Paul's goal. Another guy who scored his very first goal, and obviously off a brilliant play by Lionel Messi. You can't discount his influence in this match, and one that Kubas is definitely going to want back.
I don't know what it is with Kubas.
I don't know what it was. It was an odd moment where it seemed like he just checked out of the game for a half second. There was a weird hesitation, and that's all. I mean, a player like Messi.
All he could have done was pass it forward or send it back to Takaoka. A lot of hesitation. He had all the time in the world looking back to make a pass, and he gives it to Lionel Messi, and Messi goes back the other way to find DePaul. It had to be Rodrigo DePaul to get the match winner, and the Whitecaps just couldn't muster anything after that.
No, after that, it really felt like that was the gut punch. That was the one that knocked Whitecaps out. Tadeo Allende, 96
ninth
minutes.
Goal of the playoffs.
Record, I believe, for most goals in a playoff. Now, and interesting enough is he's now back with his parent club, his actual club. So it'd be interesting to see if Inter Miami are able to keep him.
Assisted by Messi again. Secondary assist goes to Jordi Alba. Turned out to be the final pass or assist of his career.
Yep.
And Sergio Busquets go out as MLS Cup champions. Though Messi and Busquets, I'd say, until the DePaul goal, didn't have the best games. Messi kept losing possession. Kubas and Berhalter were all over Busquets, but moments change games. And Kubas, I don't know what it is. First Champions Cup final, where he had made many mistakes, and then this in the MLS Cup final. Obviously a key part to this team. One of the best defensive midfielders in the league, but that was poor from him. And we kind of wonder about Jesper Sorensen's substitutions. Ali Ahmed was taken off like 10 minutes after his goal. And I don't know, maybe Ralph Priso felt something, but he was taken off for Jodrick Poupe.
It was a very interesting change to put on a player who had only played roughly 4-5 minutes for the club previously, and to not put on someone like a Tate Johnson and move Laborda inside. Two guys that have played together. Now, don't get me wrong. Tristan Blackman has played with about 75 different center back partners throughout this season. He can play with anyone beside him. But in a final, a game with this magnitude, it's a very strange decision.
Yeah, and taking off the best attacker, because Ahmed was all over Ian Frey in this game. And I understand putting Ryan Gauld in, though I probably would have put him in like at halftime or a bit earlier. But Gauld and Ahmed together would have been something. And I don't think Mueller was 100%.
We knew Mueller wasn't 100%. The hope was, and I understand why you start him over Ryan Gauld, because Ryan Gauld, you don't know, like if he gets injured and then all of a sudden you have to put in Mueller and Mueller's not 100%, you run that risk. So you start with Mueller, you have Ryan Gauld who can come on fresh. I understand the order of that, but
that was always the plan.
Always the plan. And it had been the plan for like the past month.
Yeah.
Taking off Ahmed, taking off Priso were strange moments, and it disrupted Whitecaps' flow.
The flow, yeah.
Right?
I mean, Priso was all over Messi. Like, he was making these big tackles on Messi. And I don't know, he did go down before he was subbed off. Maybe he did feel something. But I wonder, like, what could have been if Johnson was put on and Laborda shifted back to the middle, or Ahmed stayed on and someone like Muller or Sabi went off for goal instead.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, it's very, very true, right?
I mean, yeah, Muller, as great as he wasn't at his best in this game. Again, I'm sure that leg played something a part of it. He did have that one chance in that first half, but it just we didn't really see that same like dynamic that we've seen from Thomas Muller the past few months. Um, but yeah, I mean the watch party was great to be at. The place was loud, especially after Ali Ahmed scored. But yeah, even for the team and at the watch party, the energy was sucked out once Rodrigo De Paul scored. And yeah, this is a game of a lot of what ifs. Like, what if Sab's post shot went in? What if they scored one of their first half chances? What if the substitutions were better? Whitecaps were the better team in this game, and that's what makes this loss more frustrating than ever because it was theirs for the taking.
One thing I will say about this game was how physical this game was.
That
There
was
was
expected.
45 fouls.
Yeah.
Split very evenly, 22, 23. Very, very physical to the point where and knowing this, I will say that by and large, I think Drew Fisher did a pretty damn good job.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. And I'm glad he didn't have time for all the diving and the complaining, which I can
Yeah,
respect from a referee.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a referee you expect that was going to have. I mean, yes, you can look at his record. Miami's never lost when he's played. He's roughly even with Vancouver. But this is
Yeah.
a two-time back-to-back, I believe, MLS Referee of the Year. I thought he did a good job.
Yeah, I thought he did as well. We often don't say that about officiating.
And obviously, throughout a 90 minutes, you can nitpick and find things to tear down any performance or any refereeing match. I think by and large, he kept himself out of the game, especially in a game where with this many fouls, this feisty, this high kind of octane emotional charge, could have very easily made it about himself. He didn't.
Yeah, but he didn't. And for the Whitecaps, I think given how hot it was in Miami, I believe that the heat played a big factor
I believe they said it was around
their slow
30
start.
degrees.
Yeah, and I'm glad they got back into it and made it a game, but fortunately, small errors cost them again. This will haunt Whitecaps fans for a long time in the long dark chapter of Vancouver sports. Fortunately, it just wasn't meant to be. Messi named MLS Cup Final MVP with his 2 assists. That's no surprise. Again, that goes to show that even if he is at his best, you give him amount of time and space, he'll punish you. I mean, he's done that all throughout his career.
Here's one stat that Vancouver can be sort of happy about. Vancouver is now the only team in history that Messi has faced at least twice and never scored against.
Yep. At least for Kubas, too. Like, Messi has never scored when he's on the pitch.
Yeah, that's true, right?
At least Kubas can have that.
Yeah.
This time, Messi gets the better of Thomas Muller. Though you have to think, like, what if Muller was 100% with his leg?
Like you said, a lot of shoulda, woulda, couldas, a lot of fine margins. I think, by and large, the Whitecaps can take the final goal out of the game. I mean, that's stoppage time. That was done and dusted. This was a very close game. I think it could have gone either way. I believe 100% when you say if Sabi or Ahmed, a few inches on either side, scored one of those goals, it became 2-1 for the Whitecaps in the 71st minute or in like the 60 whatever minute when that happened, rather than DePaul's goal at the 71st. This could have been a different game.
I confidently believe that if Sabi's shot went in, Whitecaps would be having a parade on Robson right now.
Yeah. But you know what? I also feel very positive for next year.
Yeah, it was an incredible ride this whole season. Nobody expected the Whitecaps to be where they were. Remember at the beginning of the season, pundits had the team finishing like 15th.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of questions about, oh, is the team moving? Who's Jesper Sorensen? But looking back, I remember saying that the Whitecaps had way too much talent to not miss the playoffs. And you said that you wanted the Whitecaps to reach 50 points at the beginning of the season. They ended up getting 63. I predicted that they'd finish sixth in the Western Conference, but wouldn't be surprised if they finished in the top four of the Western Conference, finished second in the Western Conference, and were like among the top 5-6 teams in the Supporter Shield race.
Yeah.
I mean, it felt like
blew our expectations out of the water.
Everyone's, yeah. Like when Ryan Gauld got injured against Montreal, thought that would be like the downhill slope, but no, they persevered without him for 6 months or whatever it was.
And the funny thing is, I think when we take a look at it, my expectations would have still had them with the most points they'd ever had. And
yeah,
nothing, right? And they did that in, I don't know, September.
Yeah, they clinched the playoffs with that 7-0 win in September.
Yeah,
against Philadelphia, and they were in the Supporter Shield race for pretty much the long run. But you have to wonder also throughout the season there were many what ifs. Like, what if Gauld stayed healthy? What if there was less injuries? What if Tim Ford didn't officiate the San Jose game? Or what if Alan Chapman didn't send Laporta off on decision day? Whitecaps would have hosted MLS Cup final.
That's a very big big thing as well.
Yeah. I mean, thank you again for listening, watching, reading our articles. We get a lot of new supporters, I'd assume, given the Whitecaps' incredible season. And obviously, none of us expected at the beginning of the season Thomas Muller would sign with the Vancouver Whitecaps. If you told us that, we'd never believe you.
No.
Because I thought the guy would retire after leaving Bayern Munich, but no. He chose to come here.
We knew he was coming to MLS. I mean, there had been enough talk that that everyone expected. It was just a matter of where's he going to land. So yeah, Jesper, what did he say? He's like, you don't scout Thomas Muller. Thomas Muller scouts you.
That's pretty much what happened.
Yeah.
And
nice to be chosen.
Yeah, Mike. Forget the discovery rights from Cincinnati. He discovered Vancouver.
It's like your junior high school dance when you're standing on the edge of the gym and someone actually approaches you rather than you having to approach them.
Yeah. For me, there's a lot of great moments covering this team, like being in the press box for the Miami first leg when Messi came to town. And of course, the second leg was cool as well. All the Champions Cup games, 7-0 winning against Philly, the playoff games. We'll never forget the LAFC game. One of the greatest games I've ever seen, period. One of the greatest games in Vancouver sports history.
Yeah.
Just so many incredible moments, but unfortunately no cherry on the top, no icing on the cake, whatever. But I really feel like this was the year Vancouver truly fell in love with their football club.
I believe so as well. I believe you're going to see what this club means to Vancouver because of this season for years to come. I think it couldn't have happened at a better time, especially where there is still uncertainty over the future of this club. There are still questions of, will they stay? Will they go? Hopefully those have been somewhat answered. There's the questions about where will they stay if they stay here. But there are so many reasons to feel optimistic. And I think that's because fans are standing up for their club. And fans are feeling that this is their club right now. Where and let's be honest, for a long time, especially throughout, the 2010 decade.
Early 2020s, yeah.
There was a lot of reasons not to be a fan of this club.
Yeah, remember 5-6 years ago, this club was in the gutter. For those who were fans back then, you know all about it. We don't need to tell you, but
people would not wear their jerseys out in
Now
public.
people are wearing
Yeah.
their jerseys. People are wearing their hats and scarves in public. There's talks about Whitecaps more on the media side, on the radio, and
I think
pubs and whatnot.
one of the best examples of this I heard was a good friend of the show, Edgar,
Yep.
with News Around the Galaxy out in with
LA,
the LA
yep.
Galaxy podcast. Talked about being at a kid's birthday party with his son in Los Angeles and seeing one of the other kids there wearing a Whitecaps Thomas Muller shirt
In a Whitecaps jersey in Los Angeles.
in Los Angeles.
And he's not
And
from
talking to the
Vancouver.
kid, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. To me, those are the special moments. That was very cool to hear.
Oh, yeah. Obviously, Muller played a massive part in it. Like, his jersey flew off the shelves even before he signed.
Yeah.
But there's renewed interest in the Vancouver Whitecaps. And Vancouver proved that they are a football town or a soccer town. And if this doesn't convince investors to keep the team here and build a new stadium, I don't know what will, because the foundation is there and it really couldn't have come at a perfect time. So Jesper Sorensen and Axel Schuster spoke to the media the other day, and they pretty much reflected on the season as a whole. They're proud of it. Axel Schuster won Executive of the Year.
Yep.
Congratulations to him.
Well deserved.
Whitecaps won Business Project of the Year. Congrats to everyone involved. And the Whitecaps PR team won Communications Department of the Year. Congratulations to Nathan, Brandon, and Sebastian.
Yes.
And they also, of course, look to next year. And lots to be positive about, lots to be hopeful about. And the main takeaway is, how can we get better? How can we get even better? Because the bar is so high now. And barring what happens with Yohei Takaoka, the main core is still here. That's pretty much the big reason to be optimistic. And they're going to figure out what to add to this team to make it even better. Of course, Schuster was tight-lipped about that.
I mean, the window's not open yet. And we all know Axel. Axel is one to not talk about much to begin with. He is always very tight-lipped. I mean, Thomas Muller was not going to happen, never going to happen, never going to happen until it did.
Until it actually happened.
Right. And we're used to that with Axel. And in a funny way, it almost makes him a bit more endearing, at least when we talk to him. But there's going to be moves. They talked about the fact that you have to refresh a squad. You have to bring in new players. And they also warned that players will leave, right? Players will leave.
Some already have.
A little bit about that with 7 contract options being picked up for the next year. One option declined, but they're still in communication with that player. A free agent. Yep, a free agent that is being talked with, Yohei Takaoka.
We don't know if he'll come back.
Players that have left the club as of now, players that are more on the fringes or that were coming up from Next Pro. Max
or
Anchor,
loan,
Liam O'Neill,
Mark O'Neill, Nicholas Forio-Chateau, who was on loan.
Yep, with
and Daniel Rios, to no surprise, did no purchase option, so he's back at Guadalajara.
Yeah, absolutely. All the best to those 4 players that are moving on. We hopefully see you player career elsewhere. But the interesting one is goalkeeper. Now, Isaac Boehmer was also up for free agency. His contract, they signed a new contract. I think it's good until 2027
with an option for 2028.
Yeah. But you still need a starting goalkeeper. My guess is that will not be Isaac Boehmer. I was actually mildly surprised that Isaac decided to stay, knowing that he would most likely.
It's not guaranteed.
2.
Yeah,
my guess is he's at that stage in his career where he's looking for a starting spot.
I always knew that the organization has high hopes for Isaac Boehmer,
They do.
I wonder if the plan is to make him a starting keeper, but the question is he ready? Because he's only played in Can Champ this year, as far as I remember.
I would say for the next year, no, not yet. They still need someone there. So my hope is based on how the Whitecaps play, and I've heard a lot of talk going either way because there's two other interesting free agents that are out there as well. I mean, one, I've heard people talk about Maxime Crépeau because he was let go.
I don't think that's happening, given the way he left here.
Happening. I don't want that
I doubt that's happening.
The other one who's out there is Dane St. Clair.
Free agent. Goalkeeper of the year. Good shot stopper.
Two different profiles of the goalkeeper.
In an ideal world, Takaoka comes back because of his distribution. Remember his pass to Sabby against LAFC. Crépeau and St. Clair don't have that. Neither does Bulmer.
No. Dane St. Clair's a shot stopper. And he's great at it. I would argue Takaoka's might not necessarily have the same skill set as Dane St. Clair in being as effective as a shot stopper, but because of the way the Whitecaps play, he doesn't need to be. And what is more important is how he, exactly like you said, distributes the ball. Because a lot of how that attack forms comes through him.
Yep.
And you need that if the Whitecaps are going to play this way.
They play out from the back, and they're very good at it because Takaoka acts like another center back, giving the ball at his feet. I don't know. Like, I forgot what was his salary. It was probably the high 700s.
That's what I was going to say as well.
He obviously wants a raise. So
you can afford to do it. You can afford to do it. The Whitecaps do have some space.
And Schuster reassured everybody that they're not in trouble with the cap because he has all the faith in the world in the technical director, Quinn Thompson, who knows the cap better than anybody.
Yeah. And
they'll do some maneuvering around there. I'm confident they will. The fact they're still negotiating with Takaoka shows that there's a desire to bring him back. If not, Takaoka, I think he goes to Europe because I would assume there's interest given his play, or he goes back to Japan.
The only strike against Yohei right now, and this is not much of a strike because he's a goalkeeper, is age. And the thing
goalkeepers age differently,
much longer. So I think he could go for quite a bit longer. My understanding of it is that there is a desire to get the job done.
Yeah, and he's like 29, 30. Goalkeepers, they age differently. Many goalkeepers around the world are their primes when they're in their early to mid-30s because that's just the way it works.
He is 29 right now.
Okay, so he's still in his prime.
Yeah.
So other options picked up Thomas Muller for 2026. That's no surprise. Muller himself spilled the beans to Florian Plettenberg a couple weeks ago, saying that, he's coming back. Yeah. Jay Janower of Global said that announcement of a contract extension should be announced this week.
For
Thomas Muller.
Oh, really? Okay. I hadn't
he tweeted that yesterday. I'm going to bring it up here.
The other one that I'm seeing, and this is with the possibility of a player going out. It's been reported by multiple outlets that Atletico PR, which plays in Brazilian Série B, has shown renewed interest in Andrés Cubas. So there is the possibility that they are looking at Cubas to bring him down to Brazil. Obviously, he's under contract. If that's the case,
for 2026 is his last year.
Yeah. He also has an option for 2027. Or is
probably? I'm not too sure. Yeah.
Is this his option year? I don't believe it is, but we can find out.
And the rumor is that the Whitecaps want $4 million for Cubas, at least.
At least, yeah. I would say at least. Cubas actually has a club option for 2027. So technically, they'd be paying for it 2 years.
Yeah. Ideally, keep Cubas.
Ideally, I would keep Cubas as well.
And I'm sure you can cash in on him, but
with how well Cubas and Berhalter play, if you're able to keep those players, you've got the spine of this club completely set. I understand you're going to have to refresh a little bit. There are areas I would look at, But I really wouldn't do any wholesale changes. And changing
No, I don't want to do any. This team
like that,
doesn't need big changes
no.
because the foundation's there. It just needs depth, pretty much. Speaking of Berhalter, I wouldn't be surprised if he and Ali Ahmed stay, but leave after the World Cup.
I do wonder about those two. We know Ali Ahmed has already had interest in him from Germany.
Yep.
Berhalter's stock has gone massively up. We also have to remember that although Berhalter is American, he was born in London. So I believe he likely holds an English passport.
Yeah, but I think he plays for the U.S. already. I don't know. I think he's cap tied already.
Oh, that's fine. I'm just talking about his options of where he could go.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right? Like if you want to be a guy that moves to, say, the championship in England,
that would be good.
That ability to do so.
I mean, both first team minutes here want to prove that to make the World Cup squads. And, should both make it, I'm sure. And should they perform well at the World Cup, there'll be big offers to cash in for the Whitecaps. And, given the scouting department, they'll find replacements.
Yeah.
Both will be big losses, but I guess not all birds are meant to be caged.
If Ali Ahmed leaves, there's definitely the opportunity. Well, obviously, you're going to have to get Ryan Gauld back into the squad with Thomas Mueller kind of playing that roaming 10.
Hope Gauld stays healthy or gets back to full fitness.
We're looking at the beginning of the season where ideally you have everyone back, but there is that. So I can understand they might be a little bit more willing to allow Ahmed to go. His Canadian citizenship obviously is something that you definitely want to keep on a Canadian squad. There are those considerations, but this also opens up a bit of a role more for someone, say, like Jaden Nelson, who became a bit of a different player rather than how he exploded onto the scene and then quieted down a little bit because Ali Ahmed was so consistent. The other position I am still looking at is left back. And the main thing is because does Sam Adekugbe come back fully healthy?
Does he stay healthy? That's a big question.
The history of his injuries, right?
Yeah. I mean, Tate Johnson's done well as a rookie. Laborda plays left back well.
Yeah. But Laborda is not a left back. And I get it. He's played very well there. But I would rather use Laborda, in a position that really, really suits him.
Yeah. Adekugbe's salary is $900K plus.
Yeah.
And I know some people wondering on social media, like, do they cut ties with him given his injury history? I don't know. Would they buy him out? I'm not too sure.
I don't know. I mean, they used their buyout this year with Damir Krylak, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. I don't know if you get another one during the winter.
I
believe you do.
I don't know. To be fair, I don't know.
Yeah, anyone could tell me or us later. Yeah. What else? Yeah, I mean, Gondo also is coming back. The third string goalkeeper, Adrian Zendejas.
He's back.
Yeah. He's also back. Priso, no surprise, bigger role for him next year. It'll be another interesting offseason because free agency actually opens today.
Free agency opens today. No players on the Whitecaps other than Yohei, I think. And actually, I don't even think Yohei does. I think he's a bit of a restricted one because
he's not on that free agent list. St. Clair is.
Yeah, St. Clair is. Now, the end of waiver process, which starts tomorrow, Max Anchor does qualify for that. So Max Anchor is on that list.
Yeah.
And then obviously from there, if you're not picked up, I think you have the re-entry drafts, which you would be kind of.
Yeah, I believe someone like Ryan Raposo went through something like that. No, Michael Maltesimo did a few years ago.
Raposo came much, much later.
Yeah. He originally wanted to sign at China, and he is also, I think, a free agent. But LAFC are negotiating with him.
There we go.
So yeah, to be an interesting off season. We'll obviously talk about that. But speaking of like stadium situation, as you mentioned earlier, I'm going to bring up an article from Patrick Johnston that I think someone tweeted it, the screenshot regarding a future Whitecap stadium. So the Hastings Racecourse has closed after 133 years. So there goes horse racing, but that opens the possibility for a new soccer-specific stadium on the PNE grounds. This is what Patrick Johnson wrote in his article, what he reported. Close to a deal to give the team an exclusive window to assemble a project that includes the new stadium. So that doesn't mean the stadium, like other stuff as well. Like I'd assume retail, restaurants, offices.
The talk about there is to build an entertainment district.
Yeah,
I guess you could almost compare it similar to what, say, Edmonton did around their new hockey
the Ice
stadium
District. Yeah,
downtown, right? But this entertainment district would also include the area in and around the Pacific Coliseum and things like that.
the Agrodome. Hey, maybe
Yeah.
the Canucks could build a practice facility around there. I don't know, but the White it's been long linked to a new stadium there. So, given what Patrick Johnston reported, it seems like things are slowly moving. Actual Schuster said earlier this week, I believe on the radio, that many investors actually were at the LAFC game. So there's interest, and the team is playing at BC Place next season. So there's that.
Yeah,
That's
he
already
said we don't have
confirmed
to worry about that. There is still, it does sound like there's still negotiating certain things
with the
of
lease.
what that deal is going to be. But yeah, he said you don't have to worry. The team's not moving anytime soon, if at all.
That is Plan Z, as Schuster, sources from other outlets have reported, and Don Garber said nobody wants to see this team move. And of course, the Athletic reported, there's like groups from Indianapolis and other places, even Edmonton of all places, talking about,
I don't understand that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't understand that
I
either.
don't understand that.
Where are they going to play?
I'm from there. I'm from there. I'm sorry. Soccer goes to Edmonton to die.
Yep.
It makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. So fear mongering can die down a little bit, and the moving talk, that's a last resort. So, but I do really wonder what happens with the lease at BC Place and how long they can get another lease, because it has to be on MLS terms. And they're really playing hardball with
does. And you got to think that BC Place, they want a long-term tenant, right? So they don't want just a yearly lease that rolls over. They want something that's long-term.
Yeah, and they want like a few years, so the Whitecaps have a few years to like plan, break ground, and build their new stadium. As the weeks go by and as we head into the new year, we'll obviously get more news on this, but it seems like things slowly are moving in the right direction. Given what Garber told us a few weeks ago, and from people I've talked to a few weeks ago, and from what Johnston reported, I'm feeling that's the case.
Yeah.
One last thing for the Whitecaps here: the Champions Cup draw
was
yesterday, and it's back to Costa Rica to start the quest for CONCACAF supremacy. They're playing CS Cartaginés. I think that's how you pronounce it. Out of Costa Rica. Yeah, I think they're third in their league right now. And Whitecaps, if they win, they face the Leagues Cup winners in the next round, and that's the Seattle Sounders. So that should be exciting, but the Whitecaps have to get by Cartaginés first.
We also have the draws for the two CPL clubs that are who they're going to face.
3, actually.
Ottawa will be facing Nashville of the MLS.
Should be a good matchup.
Has a pretty tough draw in Tigres.
And then Vancouver FC have a really tough draw. The reigning champions, Cruz Azul, the team that
Yes.
beat the Whitecaps 5-0.
So we're making Cruz Azul come to the Lower Mainland anyway.
Yeah. They are going to Willoughby Park in Langley. And here's the full bracket for those interested. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. And I assume most Cruz Azul fans think they're playing the Whitecaps again, but they won't find out until later. So we got some good matchups here.
Yeah.
Like Pumas is facing San Diego. LAFC are facing Real España. That's who the Whitecaps played last year. Yeah. So the road to the final begins in February for the Vancouver Whitecaps and other teams. Speaking of
CPL news,
our old pal Vanni Sartini finally has a new job. He today has been confirmed as the new Halifax Wanderers head coach and general manager. So Vanni moves east and stays in Canada.
Yes. Took a year off to assess options, pause, decompress. He is staying in Canada, which was something that was very important to him in terms of coaching. But this is a coup.
I think this is like the biggest name the CPL has got.
In terms of a signing, it was absolutely fantastic. Now, the interesting thing is that he is head coach and general manager, which means that he's going to have full autonomy over that first team squad to be able to build the squad he wants. He's also going to be in charge of the player development philosophy, which kind of mirrors the original job that he had when he was with the Whitecaps.
Well, as director of mythology. Yep. So glad for Vanni Sartini he gets to stay in Canada. He loves this country. He's as he says here, the country changed his life, and he and his wife and his cats get to move to Halifax to enjoy all the lobster they can eat. And you know, Halifax has been like a good team in the CPL, but they've never gotten over the hump.
They finished last year, and I'm just questioning myself. Fourth? Yeah, they finished in
I
fourth
believe so.
last year.
Yeah, and they have a good fan base too. Like their games always look full, at least on TV. Yeah. So Vanni can really galvanize the team and their fans, and hopefully we get to see him again if the Whitecaps draw Halifax Wanderers in the Canadian Championship, which I don't think has ever happened.
I don't believe so, no.
So good luck to Vanni and all the best. So World Cup draw happened last week, and Amada wasted 2 hours. That was so terrible to watch. That was so cringy. I guess I shouldn't be surprised because the game's going.
We knew it was going to be bad. We all remember the draw they had, or not the draw, but the announcement that FIFA did when they announced the venues, and it took like an hour and a half before they actually got to all that. This was categorically worse. This
was a million times worse.
You can't describe how horrible this draw was. From the fact that the people drawing weren't footballers, to the fact that they invented a participation award for a guy that never participated.
A peace award.
That the coach of Argentina was forced to wear gloves to hold the trophy because they didn't recognize who he was.
Yeah. In fact, they had to create a peace award for Donald Trump, and that compilation was so cringy. I'm sure he did end those wars. If you want to argue that, I don't know time for politics, but I feel like this was just given to him because he didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize.
FIFA is actually now facing an official complaint from their own members about the awards, saying that they did not follow their own rules to remain politically neutral. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes now, too.
Yeah. And then Sheinbaum and Carney got to start the draw, but it was just the host nations. We already knew that. What a waste. And the musical acts, whatever.
I'm sorry, but I don't need musical acts in this.
Yeah, I don't either. And Wayne Gretzky, your hero, but the way he just pronounced the names. Uh, Krakow, North Macedonia. And how do you butcher Jordan? You pronounce it like this Jordan.
I well, let's put it this way. I don't know if you ever read Gretzky's very first autobiography.
No, I haven't.
Ghostwritten. It was still when he was with the LA Kings, and he talks about the fact that he never graduated high school.
That makes a lot of
display.
A lot of hockey players barely graduate or don't graduate at all, especially for that good. So that isn't a surprise.
That was painful. Like it hurt. It hurt, and I don't know how else to describe that. That was not enjoyable to watch. And I think the best comment I saw of it was one that you did, Josh, when you said this entire World Cup draw could have just been an email.
Yeah. And by the way, why didn't they have a Mexican athlete do the draw? There's nobody available? Didn't have to be a footballer, but was there nobody available?
Like, I'm sorry, like, you couldn't have gone and gotten, say, Chicharito. Like, don't get me wrong. I know that he's kind of gone off the deep end in certain ways now that he's retired from football, but so is Gretzky. So that doesn't matter to you.
But they got Aaron Judge, the guy who chokes in the playoffs all the time, Tom Brady, and Shaq.
Did you see someone put out the message saying between these four individuals, they have this many awards or this many final trophies? If you take Aaron Judge out of it, they still have the same amount of trophies. Because
Judge is a perennial playoff choker.
Yeah.
So
it made no sense.
I don't know why they didn't get footballers. They could have brought St. Clair, could have brought Alex Morgan.
Ali Wambach. I mean, there's tons of players you could have brought. Landon Donovan, Clint Dempsey. Like, if you want like an American name that's that played for the men's team, I don't know. Like, there's a ton of players, right? Yeah, it made no sense. Or bring someone from when you had the original '94 World Cup, someone that played on that team, right?
Yeah, but anyway, that aside, that gong show aside, the actual draw. So Canada
has been drawn with Qatar, Switzerland, and the winner of one of the playoff matches that will come from UEFA, which is between Wales, Italy, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Northern Ireland. Now, the interesting thing about this draw is the Welsh head coach, Craig Bellamy, is already talking about this as a Canada grudge match. And this goes back to the friendly that Canada played against Wales in
September,
Swansea, I believe, or maybe it was in Cardiff.
It was in Swansea.
Yeah, months ago, where Canada won 1-0, and Craig Bellamy apparently took offense because when Canada won, Canada cheered.
I don't know what he's salty about. Plus, that was a great free kick from Derek Cornelius.
Don't you cheer? Did he expect Canada to be like, oh, well, there we go, no dude about it?
It was a friendly for his side, but for Canada, it was more than that.
Well, it was also the first time that Canada had won on European soil in I can't remember how many years. Like this, it was a big deal for Canada, but it didn't make any sense. Like I didn't realize that Craig Bellamy could make it about him.
I don't know, but yeah, I think a lot of this group depends on who qualifies as the UEFA playoff. That really depends on Italy.
But I find
Italy are
Italy that they were, and they haven't been the Italy that they've been for a decade and a half. They haven't qualified for the last two previous World Cups,
and they crashed out of the Euro 2024 against Switzerland.
Exactly. I will say right now, I'm watching Wales.
Yeah, I'm watching Wales.
Has a chance. We're not going to know until March.
Late March.
All of these playoffs. Those are going to happen in Mexico, I believe, between the stadiums in Guadalajara and Monterrey. I
Yeah, I
believe,
believe.
is where they're
So,
going to be doing all the playoffs.
And just Italy, their attack has improved, but they forgot how to defend.
Yeah.
That's one of my takeaway from looking at Italy. And the Tuchel even admits that he wants to change his system to a back three. Like Bastoni fits better in a back three than a back four, for example. And I also think it's also a mentality issue as well. But I also feel like these players they don't have the quality and mentality of the Italy in the past. Of course, that can change in March.
Yeah.
Wales are also a team to be wary about. Craig Bellamy's side, very efficient side.
Yeah.
Aaron Ramsey's still around. He's the captain of the team now. Northern Ireland, they're a very good defensive side. Martin O'Neill.
They've done very well to get where they are. Yeah. To step up to where they are. One of the things that's also going to be interesting, and this is something that had been decided quite a ways before the draw happened. Seattle is going to host a FIFA Pride match. It's going to coincide with Pride weekend that is happening in Seattle at that time. And the match that has been drawn for that game is Egypt and Iran.
Two sides that oppose the LGBTQ plus agenda.
Not only oppose, it is illegal in those two countries.
Yeah,
now, both of those nations have now asked for that to not happen.
Egypt in particular.
Yeah, Egypt in particular. Now, obviously, the organizers of this have come back and said, you don't get to come to our house and then tell us how to decorate.
Yeah, but of all the teams you could have picked, of all the games you could have picked, you picked them.
That's just the way it fell. Like, the schedule was made up beforehand. And, unless you want to cry foul with the names that were drawn, it's just the way it is. I think it's, a little bit, it's funny the way it is, but I don't think Seattle needs to change anything.
Yeah, but why did you pick two countries where it's illegal to be gay?
Well, did
you not know that?
That's the way the draw was, right? The schedule was already made based on who was going to get drawn. All they had to do was slot the names in. So unless you're crying foul with the draw, that's just the way it is. Right? Like, this draw was different than other draws where you had one pot for the team, the next pot for the schedule. The schedule was already done. The schedule was done before the pots.
True. Just poor playing. But anyway, for Canada's group, I really think that depending on how the playoff goes, they could possibly win this. But Switzerland are a good team. Switzerland have always been a team that makes things harder for big teams, or they upset them.
Well, let's be honest. All of these teams are good teams. And we have to remember, Canada played Qatar as part of their warm-up matches for
2022, and they beat them.
Yeah, they did, right? But it's still a good side. Like, I believe Qatar is a top 50 side.
I believe, and they're in the Arab Cup right now. Though they lost to Tunisia. Jesse Marsh was there to scout.
There you go.
Switzerland.
On their day, any team here could do the business. I would say Canada got a challenging group. By no means is it the hardest group. This is not a group of death, but it is one that they are going to have to show up and play.
Yeah, my thing with Switzerland is they're a side that knows how to exploit teams' weaknesses, and they're also a very efficient side. Like, granted, Xhaka's career has revived over the past few years, and it all goes through him. And they're attackers too, like skill and size.
Yeah.
So, and they have a good goalkeeper. One of the more underrated keepers in football.
Switzerland right now is ranked 17th in men's FIFA rankings. They would be the highest out of any of the clubs that we know about. I'm not including the playoff teams right now because obviously Egypt would be up there. Canada is at 27th. Yeah. So we are a few steps above Wales, who are in 32nd. And then obviously Qatar and whatnot are further down the list.
And
Qatar's at 51st.
Should Italy qualify through, the first game will be in Toronto. Toronto's going to be a gong show if that happens, especially Woodridge.
Yeah.
The Italian population there.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, I'm cool with Canada's group. It's not the worst draw. It's not the best draw. Maybe out of all the host teams, they got the short end of the stick, but I think Canada can beat Qatar. I think if they on their day, Canada can beat Switzerland, or at least take it to a draw. But both teams will want to exploit each other's weaknesses, and that again, this group depends on who the playoff winner is.
Playing in Canada is going to be very, very important for these group stage games. That is going to be a huge boost. So
yeah, as you can see, here's the rest of the groups. Mexico, South Africa will open the World Cup in Mexico City, just like, basically it's on the day that the 2010 World Cup opened in South Africa with these two teams.
Yeah.
And then South Korea, and I can't remember who the playoff teams were here. Fortunately, Scotland are not drawn against Canada, but they play against Brazil, Morocco, and Haiti. Haiti for their first World Cup in like 50 years. Morocco too Morocco for the first went to the semifinals of 2022.
I
believe the United
country and first Arab nation to get that far.
Yeah. I believe the United States can win this group, but they can't be too cocky against Paraguay and Australia.
Yeah.
Australia made life difficult for Canada in the friendly in October.
I believe the United States can get a 1-2 easily, but Paraguay, I think, is going to be the big challenge in that group.
We could possibly see Krubis versus Berhalter in LA.
There you go.
Ivory Coast and Ecuador. This should be Germany's group.
Mm-hmm.
Ecuador are also a good side. Don't count out Ivory Coast though. Netherlands, Japan, good matchup. Tunisia and playoff winner. I really feel like this Netherlands-Japan game could be a classic for some reason.
I've got questions about Japan. I don't rate their manager right now.
I just think they need a better striker.
Well, yeah.
Like an actual finisher. They have good wingers and midfielders, defense, but striker.
Yeah, absolutely.
Belgium, Egypt, Iran, New Zealand. Belgium and Egypt and New Zealand will play games in Vancouver. It's not the same Belgium as before.
Still a good side, though.
Still a good side, but they're not the elite side that they once were.
Yeah.
Spain, Cape Verde, Saudi Arabia, Uruguay. Spain, Uruguay, two heavyweights there. France, Senegal, playoff winner, Norway. France, Senegal, I think that game is... Well, no, I don't think it's in Toronto, but it's on the East Coast. Senegal will play a game in Toronto. Argentina, Algeria, Austria, Jordan, or Jordan as Gretzky calls them. Argentina's group to win. Portugal, Uzbekistan, Colombia, playoff one. And I think this is, quote-unquote, the group of death. England, Croatia, Ghana, Panama. But really, I don't think there's a true group of death here because 48 teams and the draw the way they did it.
Spread out, right? Yeah,
they make it more spread out
than what we're used to.
So that's the groups and some good matchups there, like France, Norway, Holland versus Mbappe.
Would be very interesting.
I don't know where that game. I think Boston. Yeah, Boston or Foxborough, I believe. So here's Vancouver's games. Got Australia, versus the winner of one of these teams, Turkey, Romania, Slovakia, Kosovo. Canada will play Qatar on the 18th. So Mohamed Salah comes to Vancouver, and so does Omar Marmoush, New Zealand, Egypt. Canada, Switzerland, New Zealand, Belgium, and then the round of 32. Should Canada win the group, they play in the round of 32 game the day after Canada Day.
There you go.
And then the round of 16, July 7th, is the last one. So it should be interesting. And sure, you could say, Vancouver didn't get all the big teams. It's kind of true. All the big teams get to play down south or out west. East, sorry.
You got Belgium.
I was kind of hoping for France. Yeah, I was kind of hoping for France or Brazil or England, but I'll take Belgium, I guess.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Toronto doesn't get as many games. They only get one Canada game, and the big name for them is Germany.
Yeah.
So I guess that's something. Anyway, that's the World Cup draw. To Europe. I don't know what it is. It's December and Chelsea forgot how to play football. A bad week all around. 3-1 loss at Leeds last week. Bad defending on the corner leads to Bijol opening the scoring. Attack was lifeless. Defending was leaky. Can't blame anyone on this one. Or I can't even blame Sanchez on Al Tanaka's goal. He scored a screamer before halftime. Great story from this game. His high school teacher, I believe, or his elementary school teacher, was on hand to watch him, and he got to see him score.
That's cool.
Yeah. Tanaka, by the way, is childhood friends with Brighton's Kaoru Mitoma. I didn't even know that. So that's interesting. Neto got one back before into the 5 minutes in the second half, but that was pretty much it. And then Tosin. I think he should be sold in January because this was like one of the worst performances I've ever seen in a Chelsea shirt. For a guy who's good at winning headers, he wasn't winning headers. For a guy who's good at making passes out on the back, he's doing terrible. And then on the third goal, he stops, hesitates, gives it to Calvert-Lewin, and it's 3-1. This was way worse than the Kubis giveaway to Messi. Tosin just stopped. He froze. And Enzo Fernandez was poor. Like, João Pedro invisible. It was just poor all around. Worst game of the season against Leeds. And then at Bournemouth, nothing much was happening in this game, except Semenyo go-ahead goal was ruled out by VAR. Barely any scoring chance creation. Not a single shot on target until, like, I believe Neto from, like, 30 yards out in the 50th minute. Cole Palmer played, but wasn't 100%. Enzo Fernandez was poor. Liam Delap doesn't press, doesn't try to win the balls, and instead he tries to be a UFC fighter. And he got injured again, so great. I guess the only players that actually showed up were Robert Sanchez, who made brilliant saves, Wesley Fofana, and Cucurella. And I guess Chalobah too. But other than that, poor. And Chelsea without Moises Caicedo, sad. Like, that goes to show how important he is in that midfield. 0-0. Could have been worse. And then yesterday, Atalanta. No Cole Palmer, because they want to rest him for the weekend. But Caicedo was back. Surely they'd win this one, right? Atalanta, João Pedro scores 29th minute off the corner. Good start. And then, from then on, they just stop playing. Attack stops creating anything. And then, to tie the game, Sakamaka beats Fofana to the ball. Fofana ball watching. Poor on him, even though he's been good in recent weeks. And Chelsea were barely doing anything to regain control of the game. Fofana apparently hurt his eye. So Tosin had to come in, and then guess what? He gives away a silly free kick, and then Atalanta go back the other way and score for the winner, thanks to Kittelare. Tosin should be stapled to the bench for the foreseeable future. Sure, he's a leader, but he's not playing like a leader. That's good. I think he forgot how to manage, too. Did he forget that he had Esteval on the bench yesterday? Yet he put on Gusto as a 10 for Fernandez. Puts James in the midfield next to Caicedo, which I guess was fine. Reece James nearly made it 2-0 in the first half, but missed it. I guess he had no choice to bring on Tosin, but still. Like, last few games, makes the subs too late. Interesting lineup decisions. Doesn't adapt to the games. This is on him and all the players for this bad run of form, because I don't know. I think Chelsea put too much stock into the Barcelona win and the draw against Arsenal and forgot how to play football. Because the last few games has not been good at all, enough from everybody. Everton, on the weekend at home, get back to winning ways, and Cardiff City away in the EFL Cup. For Tottenham, at least it's better.
Yeah. It kind of feels a little bit like either the loss against PSG, where it was a 5-3 loss, or that overhead kick from Cristiano Romero was a bit of a turning point, because they finally started to figure things out. Started off with a 2-0 win against Brentford, return for Thomas Frank. And this was the game that Xavi Simons finally woke up.
Took him like what? 17 games?
18, 19 games? Something like that. Great pass into the right space for Richarlison. Richarlison has a nice just tap or redirection for the first goal. And then just before the half, Simons gets his first goal. And if you get a chance, watch this goal. It's just an excellent individual effort. Carries the ball from about the center line through 4 or 5 players to get into space just inside the box. Great shot. 2-0 win. Job done. What does this mean for Tottenham? It actually means that they're finally starting to move back up the table a little bit. They're sitting in 11th place, but you take a look at Chelsea in 5th. It's only 3 points.
And Man United are a point behind Chelsea.
Yeah, like this is a very, very tight table right now. So, sitting in 11th place, they're only 4 points out of a Champions League spot. We're roughly heading towards the halfway point, not quite there yet, but Tottenham feels like they might kind of sort of be moving in the right direction. That continued on yesterday with a 3-0 win in the Champions League against Slavia Prague, if you want. Corner kick redirected by Romero at the near post, ends up going off David Zima's head and into the net for the own goal. That ended up being the game-winning goal. After that, in the second half, there were 2 penalties, and you can argue that they're only scoring from set pieces or penalties, but this was a game that Tottenham kind of ran rampant over Slavia Prague. Those penalties were clear penalties, and it came just because Tottenham was the faster team. They're the first team on the ball each time. Kudus gets the first penalty in the 50th minute, Xavi Simons in the 79th minute, and that's all she wrote for that. Was a bit of an interesting point with this. We talked about LGBTQ plus and whatnot going on with Seattle in the World Cup. With Tottenham and the banners that they set up around the Tottenham Stadium, one of the banners is the banner for the Pride supporters group. And it sits kind of in front of where the away fans sit, have their tickets allocated. That banner's been there forever.
Yep.
Tottenham was forced to remove that banner because of Slavia Prague's objections to it, saying that it was political messaging. Again, had nothing to do with them. They had to make it about them. So there you go.
Yep.
Good thing is Xavi Simons finally starting to find the net. They will face this weekend on Sunday. I believe it's Nottingham Forest. So the return of actually, who is the manager of Nottingham Forest these days? I couldn't even tell you.
Sean Dyche?
Sean Dyche. Sorry, they've gone through so many this season, I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Rumor mill is already starting for January. Mattis Tell to Roma. Obviously, Mattis Tell was not happy that he was not picked as part of the original squad for the Champions League. Now, he has since been added and was available and did play with the game that happened yesterday. That's because Dominic Solanke was dropped due to his injury, taking longer than expected. So they were allowed to make that swap for the injury. Could be a loan option, possibly there for Rome. Mattis Tell has only, I think, been involved in about 10 matches this season. I think he's only started maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah, so, he barely played.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I know Thomas Frank doesn't seem to be happy with many of his strikers. I think the big thing is that he's been waiting for Kolo Muani to get healthier. He is still playing with quite a face shield right now that protects like his whole lower jaw. So we'll have to wait and see.
I forgot Spurs at Kuala Lumpur.
Yeah, everyone did, I think, because he hadn't played for so long.
Yeah.
They've drawn Aston Villa in the third round of the FA Cup, so definitely not an easy draw to wait for that. A couple of other updates. James Maddison, ACL injury is progressing. They're still waiting. He might not play this season.
I think that was always in the cards that he wouldn't play this season.
What it is, but we'll have to wait. And then we have Yves Bissouma, who
makes
the news for all the wrong reasons. Now, video apparently is out there allegedly of him using nitrous oxide. Nitrous oxide is a class narcotic in the UK. We'll have to wait.
First, the laughing gas thing a few years ago. Now this.
Well, this is the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the same thing. It's the same stuff. Happened in 2022 with Brighton. He was handed a match suspension at that point. He came out and said it was a stupid thing I did, yada, yada, yada. Said all
and does another stupid thing now.
Now it's the exact same situation 3 years later. So I don't know. Now, this is a player that Frank doesn't want anyway. He hasn't played. He wasn't playing anyway due to injuries and then also just being late routinely to training. They tried to send him on his way packing. No team really wanted him. Bissouma also didn't want to leave because, his contract. We'll have to wait and see what happens with January, but I kind of feel like this is one of those guys that's going to he's going to be Spurs' version of Sterling. Right?
Right. At least Bissouma doesn't make $325K a week.
That is that. So we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, Nottingham Forest up this weekend.
All right. Nottingham Forest. Another tight Premier League table, to say the least.
Yes.
Staying in the Premier League, Mohamed Salah and Arne Slot's relationship has completely broken. So Salah, along with Alexander Isak, was benched for the game against League. Then Salah goes to the media and claims that the relationship between he and Slot is not good, and Slot has threw him under the bus.
Well, I mean, if there is a bus right there, it sounds like Salah is throwing everyone else under it because no one was talking about Salah before this.
True.
The only reason we were talking about Salah was
but besides,
why had he not played in the last 3 matches? But Slot wasn't saying anything about him. So, yeah I don't know.
And
I hate when players.
I don't know.
I'm sorry, it's a team.
Me too.
game.
Like, no player is bigger than the club.
Yeah. So all this has done is it has really ramped up the Mohamed Salah to San Diego FC rumors.
Yeah. Like, he also said, I don't know why it seems to me that someone doesn't want me in the club. And managers pick their teams based on form, and Salah
Form wasn't there.
is not being good form. Simple. And I feel like he's kind of tarnishing his legacy here a bit with these comments, and there's reports that he has not apologized to Slot, and I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't even speaking. And I would assume by the time the World Cup goes around or after it, Salah will be playing in the Saudi Pro League.
Or MLS.
Yeah. Imagine him at BC plays. Well,
San Diego
coming to BC.
has that interest, right?
Yeah. And
we'll have to wait and see.
It just feels like the loss of form. Slot has lost. Slot has lost the room. Vibes aren't good at Liverpool right now. And Slot, I feel like the seat's getting hotter the more they drop points. And by the way, Salah wasn't in the squad, I think, for the game against Inter they had yesterday in the Champions League.
He didn't even make the trip.
Yeah, he didn't make the trip.
All Slot would say is it's been discussed internally. He knows why. So there we go.
Yeah, he's heavily rumored to Saudi Arabian clubs and it's just, this team won the league a year ago. Salah was the Golden Boot winner a year ago. Life goes fast, and it's all came crashing down. And according to Graham Bailey, now there's rumors of contract termination.
Really?
So, I don't know where that'll go, but it feels like this is the end of Salah at Liverpool. Legendary player there, was world class, but the way it ended, it's bitter.
Yeah.
Or the way it's ending, rather. And the way things are going, both Salah and Slot won't be at Liverpool come summertime. Or come next season.
It feels that way. We'll have to wait to see if anyone takes a hit at him in January.
Yeah, but no player's bigger than the club. And teams should, I mean, if you don't want minutes, if you're not getting the minutes you want, leave. And besides, Salah's gotten so many minutes until like the past few weeks.
Yeah.
So it goes to show managers can't pick favorites.
No, and they shouldn't.
Yeah, form here is a big reason why, the reason why he's benched.
Not only that, but managers have a duty to the club, to the fans, right? If the players aren't fitting with what's supposed to be happening at that point, then you have to find a chemistry that works.
Yeah,
it's up to the player to get back to where they were before.
Yeah, and fortunately, Slot hasn't helped himself with, you know, with the tactics, and he hasn't helped the new signings and the entire Liverpool squad find chemistry.
Slot's got his own rumors surrounding him over whether or not he's going to keep his job and who might be taking that soon.
I feel like 1 or 2 more losses, done.
Yeah.
He could be gone by Christmas.
It is a very real possibility. Yeah.
Yeah. And good news for Canadian soccer fans. Alphonso Davies is on the pitch again. Yeah. He's back, and he came on for the final minutes of yesterday's Champions League match for Bayern Munich. And yeah, good to see him back after his nasty injury.
Definitely at the right time. Also, hopefully, that means that he can also be picked for Canada's next few matches in terms of warm up and friendly is heading into the World Cup. Get him back reintegrated with that squad as well. But just good to see him playing again. What is it? About 8 months?
Yeah, since the Nations League.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and good to see him back on the pitch, and hopefully he gets up to good form over the next few months in preparation for Canada's World Cup preparation matches and the World Cup itself. So that concludes this week's episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Tell us what we're doing right. Tell us what we're doing wrong. Follow me on Twitter, Joshua00, Nathan the 10 Dirt. Podcast at Terminal City FC. And check out our articles for Area 51 Sports Network covering all things Whitecaps offseason. I probably do my player ratings later this week, earlier next week. Blue Sky as well. Follow us on there. Check out the Terminal City FC Instagram and YouTube channels. Hello to everyone watching on the YouTube channel and Area 51 Twitter. Email us if you know a company or if you're part of a company for potential sponsorship. Terminal City FC Podcast at gmail.com. Yeah, my mic sounds better this week, so apologies for last week. I don't know what my mic was, something wrong with it last week, but I fixed it. So, yeah, we'll also do one last episode next week before we take the holidays off.
Absolutely.
So that concludes this week's episode. Peace out.
Take care.